All right guys, welcome back to the channel. Now you're probably wondering what the title is all about. Today, I'm gonna show you how to manipulate a bowling ball to do whatever you want it to do. And what I mean by that is we're gonna talk today about axis rotation. Axis rotation is an important part of today's game for several different reasons. You're watching today's pros, bowl all over the lane, whether they're playing all the way to the right, all the way to the left. And sometimes they might be throwing the same exact bowling ball across the lane. But what you don't know is they're doing several different things with their hand in order to maximize the performance of the bowling ball. So today we're gonna deep dive into how the pros do it. So there's three different types of axis rotations. There's low, there's medium, and there's high. Those different axis rotations vary in different numbers. For all my numbers guys out there, if you wanna think low axis rotation, you can go to the extreme of 0 all the way to about 25 degrees. Medium axis rotation, where I kind of live, the medium and low, is 30 degrees of axis rotation to about 45. And then anything 50 and up is considered high axis rotation. Now, there are different parts of the lane where you want to use these different axis rotations. Obviously, when you're further to the right, you want to use less axis rotation because you're covering a less amount of boards. You're playing straighter angles, and if you have too high of an axis rotation, the ball is going to get offline really quick at the end of the pattern, and it's going to cause uncontrollable ball motion at the end of the pattern. Obviously, you guys see the pros at the highest level, they control their bowling balls throughout front, middle, and back end part of the lane. So rarely you see them using high axis rotation from the right part of the lane. So using lower axis rotations from the further right part of the lane as a right-hander, you're going to find the most success. So we're going to throw a couple shots with some low axis rotation to show you guys how controllable the ball is from that spot, and you might actually see some strikes. So let's get into it. All right, so we just got done throwing those couple shots from the right part of the lane. That's obviously, one of my favorite zones to play, and I really love to be up the back of the bowling ball. This part of the lane for me is where I tend to shine because I am a more aggressive player. I like to throw it harder. I like to roll it. I like to keep my angles in front of me. So that part of the lane is what I love to be in. And as you guys could see, I was more up the back of the bowling ball. I was controlling the front to back motion very well. And when it got to the end of the pattern, you really didn't see it bounce off the end of the pattern. You saw a nice, smooth, controllable shape going through that zone of the lane and at the end of the pattern, and it went through the pins very nicely. So now we're gonna go into medium axis rotation, where I still tend to shine. I don't have to get my angles too far apart. Let's throw a couple shots from the middle part of the lane. All right, so from there, you probably didn't notice a huge difference in ball reaction. It was definitely more off the end of the pattern. Obviously, as right-handers tend to move left, you have to create a little bit more axis rotation, but that's my medium axis rotation. That's kind of where I start the day or when I'm about to, go into practice, whether it be for a tournament or just, coming here at Orange Bowl to practice. I tend to start in that area just to see what the lane's telling me, what the lane's giving me, and then I make my hand adjustments and my rotation adjustments from there. We're gonna go to the extreme part of the lane where this may not be my A game, but it's something I've got better at over the years. And we're gonna start to really rotate the ball. All right, so we made our way all the way to the left. And what I had to do right off the bat is just slow the speed down a little bit because you are covering more boards as you go left. There are some different circumstances where I'm still able to amp up my speed, play the friction, and maybe not have to rotate it as much. But what we're bowling on today, there's a lot more volume in the middle part of the lane, so I really had to dial my speed down just a little bit. Probably not enough for you guys to notice, but just a little bit. and get my hand on the inside of the ball and really rotate around the outside of the ball in order for the ball to cover more boards and to go through the pins properly. So now your next question is, Nate, how do I practice this? Well, we're gonna get into that right now, and the number one thing that I recommend is doing the foul line drill. And I'm gonna show you guys how to do the foul line drill properly so that way you can maximize every single rotation that you guys do. All right, so we're gonna get into the foul line drill. And obviously, if you haven't seen in our past videos, what you do is you have the ball at the knee, around the knee level, and you're gonna not be hunched over at the line. You wanna be in an athletic finish position to where your chin and knee are lined up and everything is balanced to where you're not going too far forward and you're not sitting too far back. You definitely wanna feel like you're sitting in a chair when you do this. So we're gonna get in that finish position, and then what you're gonna practice to do if you're gonna do lower axis rotation is you're gonna feel like the hand is going through the center of the bowling ball and it's just collapsing at the bottom. While you're doing this, you also want to keep in mind that your elbow has to stay as close to your body as possible or on the inside of the bowling ball. And then it's just 6 inches up and back. I don't want to see anybody kind of swinging it like this. It's just a nice, easy motion. It doesn't have to go 500 miles an hour down the lane. It's just simply just for practice purposes. So I'm going to show you guys a couple more angles so that you guys can get the hang of it. I'll go through all the different axis rotations as well. All right, so one more thing when you guys are practicing this, whether you're doing the foul line drill or you're going through the whole entire approach, when people try to create more axis rotation, everything starts to get away from them. The elbow starts to get away from the body and your shoulder starts to come in front. So people are trying to create rotation with their arm instead of having their hand and fingers do the work. You really want to create more rotation with the more the hand is inside the bowling ball, quickly going around to the outside. As you guys can see, when I did that motion there, my elbow is not going like this. It's staying on the inside and my hand is working around the bowling ball. So make sure you guys are practicing that and make sure you're remembering to keep everything on the inside and rotate with your hand. All right, so now I'm gonna take you guys through a live couple shots. I know that we threw some shots before, but I'm gonna take you through each part of the lane. I'm gonna throw about 1 or 2 shots in each part of the lane just to give you guys a live feedback of like what I'm going through. So we're gonna start further to the right. I'm gonna really roll it. I'm gonna be standing on 12 and looking about 9, 10 and pretty much keeping everything in front of me. It's a pretty good shot there. So I was keeping my speed a little bit firm since I am farther to the right. There's a lot more friction in this part of the lane. So my tendency is to be really up the back, very forward, get the ball to start up in the front part of the lane so that way I can control the pattern from this area. So we're gonna throw one more from here. Another really good shot. As you can see, the ball motion is not very drastic throughout the entire lane. It's very controllable, minimum rotation, so you're not gonna see a lot of movement. What we're gonna do now is probably migrate 8 to 10 boards to the left. We're gonna have a little bit more rotation. This is where the medium axis rotation takes into place. We'll be standing about 21 and looking around, I don't know, 13, 14, getting it to about 8 down lane. Pretty good shot there. Because again, it's not really drastic off the end of the pattern. I'm still creating about anywhere from 25 to 35 degrees of axis rotation. Just because I moved 8 to 10 boards to the left doesn't mean my hand is gonna really whip around it as much as I would from way inside. So I'm gonna throw one more shot from there, do the same thing. Another really good shot. I've thrown 4 in a row, but from 2 different parts of the lane. And obviously, as you guys see the pros do, they can do that from anywhere on the lane. So I'm creating 2 different rotations from 2 different parts of the lane in order to maximize my score. So now we're gonna move way inside to about 4th arrow, and we're gonna really slow down the speed, but we're gonna rotate it a lot more. All right, so my feet are on 30, and I'll be looking around 19, 20, getting it to 8 as well. I'm bringing down that speed, and I'm getting my hand in a different position so that way it's easier for me to rotate the ball. almost an eighth in there. I missed a little bit to the right, but if I were to do a different rotation, like low or medium rotation, that result probably wouldn't have happened. The ball would have probably locked up a little bit quicker and gone straighter down lane because it didn't have enough rotation to come off the end of the pattern. So the farther left you are, the tendency is to get more rotation on it. So I'm gonna throw one more from that same spot, and we'll try to throw it a little bit better. A little bit better. A little firmer from the inside, and I missed my mark about 1 or 2 down lane, but I still got a great result because I'm doing the right thing, speed-wise and axis rotation-wise. I'll give you guys an example. I'll go from that same spot, I'll lower my axis rotation just so you guys can see the difference. So I'll be in the same spot, same speed and everything, but I'm gonna go low axis rotation just so you guys can see a visual. Like I was talking about earlier, how it got to the end of the pattern, it locked up and went straight. That's what happens when you don't have proper axis rotation in the part of the lane that you're trying to score in.
All right guys, that wraps up today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed today's video and maybe it brought a little bit of awareness to some of the things that you may need to work on in your game. Whether it be playing further to the right with less rotation or moving in like myself and trying to create a bunch of rotation. Not a bunch, but you know, just more than your average, so that way you can get the proper result from that part of the lane. So thank you guys so much for watching, and if you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe if you're brand new to the channel, and we'll see you on the next one.